Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of. I'm thinking it's the Gorehound episode. No, it's not. Welcome to the Primetime Movie Network. I'm Primetime James Thomas coming to you on another video on some news regarding the Friday the 13th franchise. Before I get started, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And also, don't be afraid to donate to the Cash App at PrimePod313. Again, that is PrimePod313, where any donation will greatly be appreciated. From $1 to $2 to $5, doesn't matter. Any donation would be appreciated to up the production value on this channel. But yes, indeed, some very big news regarding Friday the 13th franchise, more specifically regarding the series that's coming out. This actually happened a couple of days ago, but I was busy the last couple of days, but I am now getting to it now. Now, you can read this article on Variety, but I'm reading the article off of Bloody Disgusting. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the article. Now, this is my first time doing this. Very first time doing this. So hopefully this goes smoothly. So here we go. Looks like here is the article right here. Hopefully everybody can read that. Okay, give me 1 second here. And of course, there is the article A24's Crystal Lake lands new showrunner for a Friday the 13th prequel TV series. It is on Bloody Disgusting, the pretty much, the holy grail of horror news. And of course, got the classic look of Mongoloid Jason from the very first film. Ugly little bastard. But yeah, so the article reads as is. Plans for A24 and Peacock's planned Friday the 13th television series Crystal Lake derailed earlier this year, with showrunner Brian Fuller's departure leaving the project in limbo. Deadline reports that the project is back on track, enlisting Brad Kane. Brad Kane. Has a nice ring to it. As the new showrunner. Kane will serve as the series creator, showrunner, writer, and executive producer. To refresh your memory, Peacock has given the project a straight-to-series order in 2022, with Crystal Lake being described as an expanded prequel to the original Friday the 13th franchise, featuring both Jason Voorhees and his mama, Pamela. Additionally, Vincenzo Natali, hopefully, however you pronounce that, and Kimberly Pierce were set to direct episodes with the budget ballooning around $10 million per episode. $10 million per episode, golly! With 8 episodes in total planned for the first season. It would have cost A24 roughly $85 million to bring the series to life. Yeah. In addition, with additional seasons being planned by the studio. Expect the change of direction, the direction to change completely now that our new showrunner is in place. Kane has recently served as showrunner and executive producer of It, Welcome to Derry, and anticipated It prequel series with Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. In addition to Kane, executive producer of the series include A24 Victor Miller, who wrote the screenplay for the franchise's original 1980 film. Miller's copyright attorney, Mark Toberoff, and Robert M. Brazamian, whatever his name is, and Robert P. Barazmian. The project will mark A24's first major IP project amid a recent effort in expand for its commercial decision. And apparently this is from Bob Kane himself. Brad Kane, I'm sorry. From the moment I watched Jason Voorhees squeeze an eyeball out of its socket in glorious 3D. Yeah, I'm sure it was glorious. At the tender age of 8 years old, I knew my creative path was someday destined to converge with the man behind the mask, said Kane in a statement. Nothing defined my childhood more than growing up in the golden age of the slasher flick, and nothing defined the genre more than Friday the 13th. And with that statement, he's telling the truth. He's telling the truth there. I mean, he's telling the truth, because I've said this over and over again, is that Halloween, as much as we're Halloween fans, Halloween is my favorite horror movie franchise. But we got to understand. We got to understand this, folks, that damn, I'm sorry. Michael Myers was non-existent in that era. He was hardly non-existent, okay? But he wasn't. Absolutely wasn't. Growing up the gold growing up in the golden age of slash effect, nothing has defined the genre more than Friday the 13th. I could be more excited for the opportunity to contribute to a chapter of this iconic franchise, particularly with such fearless partners as Peacock and A24. Now that Crystal Lake is back on track, expect to hear more about this Friday the 13th prequel series in the coming months. So there you have it, folks. Brad Kane, showrunner on It, Welcome to Derry, has taken over as the showrunner, executive producer, and writer of the prequel Friday the 13th television series, Crystal Lake. Okay. So, listen. Let me say this. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I am too familiar with Brad Kane's work. But of course, he's saying all the right things. He's obviously a fan. He grew up during the golden age of slasher movies. And like I said many times, not that in itself means you're going to deliver a great product. I'm not saying that. I'm just simply saying that it's always a good sign that you have people involved that understand the mythology, understand what you're dealing with, what you're working with here, right? That doesn't mean the series is going to be good. That doesn't mean you're going to like what they're cooking. That doesn't mean you're going to like what they deliver, obviously. But I would much rather prefer somebody who gets it, understands it, grew up with it, right? Understands what's on the table, than somebody who doesn't understand anything at all. Ronnie Yu, great example. But that doesn't mean that, if they don't know, that they can't know. But I just feel more comfortable with a project like this being in the hands of someone who is a fan just like me and you. I like that. I like that he comes from that era. I like that he grew up during the golden age of slasher movies, like a lot of us over the age, like a lot of us who are 30 and older did. Currently, that's pretty cool. And I understand what he says when he means, listen, Friday the 13th was, there really is no other series that is the epitome of that golden age of B movie slashers like Friday the 13th. As much as we love Halloween, not to beat a dead horse, but like I've said many times, and I get challenged by this for some strange reason. I get challenged on this, but Michael Myers was not around in the 80s. He was there in 81, and he was gone until 88. And in that time frame, Jason and Freddy ruled the box office. They are the icons of the 1980s slashers. Not that Michael's not there, but Michael didn't really have a resurgence really until Halloween H2O. That's when really there was a resurgence of the genre in itself. Because even though Halloween 4 was successful, the slasher genre, by that time, 1988 came around, was already on the decline. The trajectory going on the decline. And Halloween 5 was a disaster. Halloween 6 was a complete disaster. So it wasn't until the late 90s when there was a resurgence, not just in Halloween, but in the slasher subgenre as a whole, with Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Halloween H2O, Urban Legend. It was really the late 90s that allowed people to focus and pay attention to Halloween, and all of a sudden Michael Myers is cool again. But in the 80s, man, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, Jason was the man. So there is truth to what he's saying there. That there is not a 1980s franchise that really exemplifies the epitome of that era. That is the perfect example of the golden age of slashers, the fucking Friday the 13th. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You know what I'm saying? So there is truth to that. So I like what he had to say there. I think that's important, what he has to say. Does that mean that he's going to deliver something great? I don't know. But I will say this, though. I will say this. It is important in today's era that there is more meat to the bone. So many people need to understand that it has to be more than just tits, teen, and blood. It can't just be that. If all you care about is one movie, fine. But if you want Jason to be around for a while, there's got to be meat on the bone. And that doesn't mean you can't have to make it cerebral, elevated. They're so extreme. Like, I hate that about life nowadays, is that nobody instills nuance anymore. When I say when meat on the bone, I don't mean The Shining. I don't mean Hereditary, okay? I don't mean going to an extreme and all of a sudden it's so pretentious, pompous, cerebral film with 375 million layers to it with psychological, sociological commentary. That's not what I'm talking about. But it has to be a little bit more than just teens, tits, and blood, because that's not the era we're in anymore. Now, that would do well first time around, but there's no longevity there. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying if you don't deliver a teen, tits, and blood Friday the 13th film, that's all there is. Just teens going to a camp and there's sex and blood and violence and Jason and women chasing and all that stuff. Of course it's going to do well because people are hungry for Jason. But there's no longevity in that. You can't. It's not 1984 anymore, folks. We evolved beyond that. So that's what I'm talking about. If you want Jason around for a while, kind of like how Michael was there for a little bit, if you want him around for a bit to get excited about things and maybe a new movie or a next season of the show, whatever it is, there's got to be more meat to the bone. And all you out there that disappointed that Brian Fuller's gone, he was going to do that. He was going to do that. In his departing tweet, he said, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he said basically, I was really looking forward to putting more meat on the bone, to elevating it. He actually used the word elevating it. And again, that doesn't mean hereditary. It means elevating it beyond what it is. Because what Friday the 13th, because what the 80s Friday the 13th movies are schlocky, B-movie nonsense. That's what they are. And that's not going to appeal to a bigger audience today with where we are today. And where we are today in today's form, with streaming and the industry as a whole. If those type of movies, the Friday the 13th of the 80s kind of movies today will be thrown on Netflix in a deep hole in the back of a horror genre. You have to go and look for it. You have to see it. You'd be like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? It's not where we are today. So there's got to be more meat on the bone for Friday the 13th franchise. You can deliver some blood. Of course you can deliver blood. If you want boobs, of course you can deliver the boobs. You want teens? Of course deliver the teens in there. But it can't just be that. It has to be more for longevity for today's audience. And if you don't think I'm telling the truth there, watch what happens. Because keep in mind, folks, 15 years ago, they did try. Actually, they actually had a little bit more meat on the bone in the 2009 movie that came out, where they had that subplot where the guy was looking for his sister. That was the B plot, and then the A plot was the teens, the kids at the camp, getting killed one by Jason. You had a little bit of that. You had a little something there. You had a little bit of there. And it still dropped 80% in the box office by the second weekend. It was a catastrophic disaster that second weekend, which is why, in part, not solely, But that's why they never made another one. They never made another one because of that reason. So you got to have something, especially when you're doing a television series, right? Where you're essentially doing 8 episodes, maybe an hour long each. That's 8 hours. You got to have more meat on the bone. And story, elevate it a little bit. Get us to care about the characters. I guarantee you, if they do that, no one's going to give a shit. Everybody out there that's saying, oh, it was just tea to the blood. I don't want all that. I just want Jason killing people. No, you don't know what you want. Can I tell you right now? They deliver something really good. They could fuck it up too. But they deliver something that's really, really meaty and juicy. You're like, oh, this is really good. This is really cool. It makes you see Friday 13 a whole new different way. No one's gonna give a shit. No one's gonna care. No one's going to care. Winning solves everything. Fandom. It's just like your favorite sports team or your favorite artist. Okay, they go on a slump, and then you're like, oh, they don't got it no more. But they win 3 games in a row, 4 games in a row. You're back on board. That one person comes out with a hit new album, everybody's back on board. Winning solves everything. Tickets front row. It's all it is, and that's all what fandom is, right? The franchise fucks up for a bit. Fuck this franchise. I know I'm one of those people that would do it, but if they deliver a good movie, that's all fandom is. Fandom is sports. Fandom is fandom. Fandom is fandom, isn't it? So anyway, I'm just simply saying that that's what they're going to do, because that's what Bryan Fuller was going to do. And even though they may not do the same thing now that Bryan Fuller was going to do, I guarantee you that Brad Kane, I almost said Brad Fuller, but Brad Kane is going to do the same thing. He's going to do the same thing in a sense of it's not just going to be 8 episodes of schlocky teen tits and blood, and there's no real story. It's just this. There's got to be a story. There's got to be a through line. Each episode is not going to be a different movie. Each episode is going to be a different episode with a through line connecting all 8 episodes. So there's got to be characters and meat and stuff going on. There's got to be stuff going on. Meat. There's got to be juicy prime rib meat happening. Layers. So there's a point and a purpose to all this, to extending this for 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that fans, Friday the 13th fans, need to take a step back, relax for a minute, and just think that, yeah, if I want Jason around, then it's 2024, folks. It's not 1983. It's a very different era we're in right now. And I understand that things have to be a little bit more involved now. Now, the trick is not removing what makes Friday the 13th, not taking away its DNA. It's about complementing it. It's about showing you what it could be today. It's not about taking it and reinventing it. It's about complementing it and showing you what it could be today. You know what I mean? So in a very similar way of how they kind of did with Halloween 2018. Granted, some liked it, some hated it. I'm still on the in it, but it kind of did a good job of showing what Halloween could be in today's era. Not exactly the same way, but in a similar way. The principles are the same. That's what it's about. You don't remove the DNA. You understand what makes it work. You understand why fans really love it, and you complement it. You add to it. And having somebody who's a big fan growing up doesn't mean it's going to be good, but certainly that is a positive, right? That shows you that it could be some competent hands here. So I'm still looking I'm looking forward to it. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm curious. And of course, I love Friday the 13th films, but they're not stupid. It's not going to be Friday the 13th meets Hereditary. I mean, they understand this. I hope they understand this is a slasher film, because A24 is known for their very highbrow, fancy horror films. I hope they understand that, and I hope they understand that Friday the 13th is not meant to be highbrow and fancy, and we stick our pinkies in the air. I don't like that slasher shit. I like that psychological, makes you think horror films. No, Friday the 13th is not that. Hopefully, and I hope they understand that. And then hopefully they do a good job with it. But I am curious to see where this goes. Don't know where it's going to go, but very curious to see where it goes. And yeah, it's back on track. And I'm sure in the upcoming months, we'll get more information on it on the Crystal Lake TV series. A24 and Peacock are hell bent on getting out there. So, hey, if you're watching After the Facts, if you made it this far, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, how you feel about the situation. Do you guys like it? Do you guys not like it? How you guys feel about the new show? What do you think about this Crystal Lake TV series? And again, I believe what the goal would be, it's a prequel, so they go back to when Jason was born and he was a little kid whatsoever, gets to know Pamela more and all that kind of stuff. But there's a through line. They don't just stay in that world. Maybe that's the first season, or maybe it's the first half of season. I don't know. But they take you through into Jason's world, into becoming Jason in the hockey mask. And I believe that was the plan before. I believe that's part of what's going to be the plan today, or maybe not. I don't know, but that's kind of the goal. And I'm all for that. I mean, it's just, it can be more than what it is. But I think fans are, understandably so, they are so apprehensive and jaded. They've been wrong so many times. They've been disappointed so many times. And a lot of fans don't want to take that risk. They just want the same thing over and over because it's comfortable. It's comfortable. Just deliver me a Friday the 13th movie, right? That's what fans always say. And I hear it all the time. How hard is it to deliver a Friday the 13th movie? Then I've always followed up with, it's just teens in a camp getting killed. And yeah, and that's the problem. Today, that's the problem in today's time. If that's all you want, then go watch the fucking movies. There's 12 of them son bitches out there. 13. Go watch them. They're there. There's got to be more here. That's just me. But who knows? Maybe the show will suck, and then maybe Joe Budden will say this.
Hear me good, nigga. I'm here to double down. That shit is a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.
But yeah, let me know guys' thoughts. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I will talk to you guys later. Hopefully everyone has a great night, and I will talk to y'all later. I am Primetime Jason, the Primetime Movie Network, and I am out. Peace.